Hi everyone, we have a number of things on the weekly update today. The first two things are important in their own right, but they are especially important in the time of our pandemic, and that is voting and the census. We have an election coming up on September 1st. That's only about 2.5 weeks away, and it's going to be very important for New Bedford to turn out. It doesn't matter who you're voting for. What matters is that we show up, whether it's through the mail-in voting system, through early voting, which will start on August 22nd and run for a week across the street at the main branch of the public library, or voting on Tuesday, September 1st. Either way, we need to get out there to make sure that New Bedford's shows up in force. When campaigns happen, especially for statewide races, candidates look for where the votes are, and the more people who show up in New Bedford will elevate New Bedford's profile in a big way. So we need you to get out there for all the usual reasons, but also to make sure that New Bedford's getting its due. In a similar vein, we need everybody to complete a census form. Again, getting a full count here in New Bedford ensures that we get the federal money that federal and state money that we are entitled to. So many federal programs, so much federal and state money depends on, is distributed depending on where people live. And if your population under the census is larger, you get more money. If it's lower, you get less money. That's just the way it is. And so we want to make sure that we're getting all of the resources we need to provide important services to the residents of our city. So our response rate in the city is lower than the state average. We need to pick up the pace and do it real soon, because the census will stop at the end of September. So you can call in and to the Census Bureau and do it that way. You don't have to do it by paper. You can go online and do it that way. But either way, please make sure that your family is registered. It's confidential. The information doesn't go out to other agencies, federal, state, or local. But it's so important to make sure that everyone in New Bedford is being counted. I believe that the city is actually over 100,000 residents. Not everybody has been counted before, and so one of the big reasons that we want to get everybody counted is to get us over 100,000 so that we can be eligible for all the things that cities over 100,000 are eligible for. So your cooperation in that way will be greatly appreciated. There'll be more reminders in the next few weeks, and then once you do it, tell your friends to do it as well. The last thing I wanted to talk about is the reopening of schools, which of all the decisions we've made during the pandemic is probably the trickiest one. There are some very compelling public interests at stake, sometimes conflicting. On the one hand, we obviously need to ensure that we don't have a lot of people in any given building, schools or otherwise, who are gathered around too closely and not wearing masks. On the other hand, we want to make sure that our kids are getting the education they deserve. Every kid gets only one shot at third grade and fourth grade and so forth, and it's incumbent upon we, the adults, to ensure that they are getting what they deserve in the way of schooling. So, and we also know at the same time that remote learning is hardly a perfect substitute for the real thing. So, the trick here is to get them back into school, but do it safely. So what we've done is a very incremental and gradual approach to reintroducing kids to schools. Everybody will start off remotely, and then we'll start to reintroduce the most high-need students first. Those students who are on individual educational plans, as well as students with limited English skills, will go in first. We want to make sure that they are tracking to make sure that they are keeping up in the way that they have to, in the way that they should. And then after that, the transitional grades will go in. So this is kindergarten, 6th grade, 9th grade. We want to make sure the kids who are going to a new school feel plugged into that school. And then a few weeks after that, the rest of the students will come back and they'll go to school on a rotating basis. The bottom line is, we won't put any kid in a unsafe position. We're taking all sorts of steps to make sure that the risk of disease transmission is minimized to the greatest conceivable extent. The schools will be disinfected. The kids will be separated out by 6 feet. They'll have to wear masks. In the classroom, there'll be some breaks for mask wearing, but by and large, they're going to be wearing masks. They're going to have to eat in the classroom. There'll be barriers, and part of the instruction in any case will be remote. There will need to be some instruction that goes from the school directly to the home, and so ensuring that the technology is in place to do that is a big part of this game. This is tough stuff, and our school department has worked extremely hard to put us in a position where we can move forward with this effort, but it's not set in stone. If we believe that the disease has rekindled, if we're seeing a second surge, we will have to pull back. And so we're going to need everybody to communicate well. We'll need people to be patient, and we'll need to ensure that we keep our eye on the ball. We want kids to be safe. We want to make sure that they're getting the learning that they deserve. So more to come on this. There's a lot to talk about. There's a very detailed plan. I encourage you to visit the school department's website to take a look at the plan, to see it in detail. It's going to take all of us to pull in the same direction to ensure that our kids get what they need and they get it safely. With all that, this has been the Mayor's Weekly Update. We'll see you next week.